Welcome to the February 2023 meeting of the Charlotte Woodworkers Association. This month we were visited by two people from Mohawk Finishing Products who came to talk to us about their products, and they talked specifically about how you can use some of their products to solve problems on your wood finishes. Here are a couple of web links you might find useful. The first one is the main site for Mohawk itself, and the second one is a link to the page at Klingspor where you can find a selection of the Mohawk products. They mentioned that Klingspor carries a lot of their products.
And we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Ricky, and we're with Mohawk Finishing Products. A lot of people might know our name out in the field. Some people think Mohawk flooring, carpet, tile, all that. That's not affiliated with us. I know our logos look a lot the same, so they try to put us with the flooring company. We're not affiliated. Mohawk, actually flooring company, and us, we both originated from the New York, the river up there, the Mohawk River and all. So that's where both companies started. We both ended up moving to North Carolina, and both of us has done well. But unfortunately, the only thing is our logos look similar because of where we came from. But just to talk a little bit to introduce who Mohawk is, we're the world's leader in touch-up and some of the finishing out there. We've been around for a long time. We're under the umbrella of RPM. RPM has got just numerous sister companies that work with us under that umbrella. Just to name a few, one of our close ones is FinishWorks. They handle our OEM coatings and stuff side. We're in a lot of the major furniture companies, got our coatings, cabinet companies, flooring companies, that's using our sister company, FinishWorks, which that is just like if you would probably only use a gallon or 5 gallons. They're buying it in drums and totes. So that's the only difference. It's just under a different name, but it's all of our products are made here in North Carolina. We're based out of Hudson, North Carolina, where everything's made. Our offices are in Hickory. So we're right here, basically not too far in your backyard. Just to let you know. But some of our other sister companies, I know you've seen Rust-Oleum. That's part of us under the RPM umbrella. DAP, that makes the wood putty you've seen everywhere in Lowe's and all that. That's some of our sister companies, just to tell you how big of a company RPM is. And we try to help each other out. But that's just a little bit about us to kind of introduce us. But we're going to go over some of the finishing we offer, some of the touch up. So like if you've got something you're restoring, you just want to try to repair one spot without refinishing a whole side, we're going to show you some alternatives where you could do that. Or if something gets nicked after you've already refinished it and it's ready to go to the customer, but you might have hit it, say, in your shop or something, you don't want to refinish the whole piece. So we'll give you alternatives and at least the knowledge and on the products and all, and just go over some different things. But on the finishing side, we do carry numerous different stain options. We've got our ultra penetrating, the NGR stains. I know a lot of people use the NGR stains. So we've got a numerous selection of them that you can pick from and all the different colors and all. And also the dye concentrates. We also carry that. But the biggest thing, probably one of our biggest sellers that you guys would probably use is our wiping stains, our 545 wiping stains. It's just unbelievable, the color that you get out of them, the radiance, the translucent. I mean, you could just see the beauty of the wood when you apply these and then put your top coat. It just brings it back to life. So whatever you're working on. But you'll notice if you go on our website or in our catalog, you'll see these wiping stains. They have the architectural and also the designer series. The difference in them, they're still both wiping stains, but when you start stepping up into the designer ones and all, it's just the color is more vibrant. It's just more rich, gives it a lot more depth than your regular 540 wiping stains. So if you're really looking for that depth, you're working on a desk, a table, guitars, any of that stuff, that's really going to give you that look that you're wanting as far as that. We do have, if you got small projects, you don't want to buy a quart, gallon, We've got some also the wiping stains and aerosols that you can apply, spray it on it, and wipe it down with your rag and move it around at that point. So if you've got a smaller project and you don't want to buy a big bulk, you know, a quart, a gallon, something like that, you can also go in our wiping stains and the aerosols. We can get some to you. We can get your address or something. Just let me or Chris know and we can mail it to you. And we were hoping to get some in, you know, from our facility before we left out, and our shipments didn't come in time. So we've just got a couple of older ones. These are actually the last edition. We've got a newer one. We're constantly updating as far as that. So, but just to kind of introduce you to some of the stains, we also have, that's some more of the designer series on the backside. But we also carry glazing stains, numerous different colors as far as that. You can get them in quarts, gallons. Also, if you don't want to buy them in bulk, your small projects, again, we have them in aerosols. So you can buy it in an aerosol to do your smaller projects as well. Breakaway glazes, we carry them as well. So they're going to be in a quart or an aerosol as well to make it convenient for whatever you're trying to do, whether it's the large project, small project, because I know a lot of people, you know, especially if you're doing more of the antiques, you know, that breakaway glaze is a definite, so you can get that hang up. It's basically when you're the hang up where it'll get caught up into like your serruge or anything, a project like that. So you're trying to get that hang up in that grain is basically what our breakaway glaze is going to do to give you that same result on that. So I know I went through a lot of the different things pretty quick. Does anybody have any questions on any of the stains? Yes, sir.
He said, "May I ask a question? Repeat it so he can hear it from."
Yeah. Okay. And your question was, I'm sorry? Where are our products? You can we've got actually some dealers, distributors that's in Cleanspore. They carry all of our, a lot of our products. At Cleanspore, we've got Rainbow Paint down here in Gastonia that carries it. I'm trying to think if there's one more that might. Worth carries some of it, but your biggest one I would say would be Cleanspore. Your second one would be Rainbow Paint and all. But Cleanspore's got the biggest selection on hand. And if that don't, you can actually reach out to me or Chris or somebody, and we could set you up your personal account, and it could just come straight to you. And you can order online at that point with your own account. So just to let you know. So, anybody else got a question so far? I don't want to go too fast if somebody got a question about the stains or anything.
Wiping on the intakes.
Yes. Well, some people, you talking about the corrosion, the wood? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. The question he's got is one of the terms I used as far as some of the wiping stains was the corrosion when I was talking about the pull back here, the breakaway glazing. When you've seen pieces where the grain has like a white hang up or a gray hang up in the wood, that's what that is. That's just a technique and a phrase that we use for that. Yep. Yes, sir. Everybody's probably seen a piece of wood where you got that gray, it looks like powder dust, you know, basically caught up in it. That's where you can get that. Yeah, definitely on that. Yes, sir. Any other questions on any of that kind of product that we've got? Yes, sir. The question was on the aerosols, how long do you have to work? You're talking about the stain aerosols, right? It gives you just as long to work with it as like if you're using it out of the quart. Say you've got a panel that's, let's say 3 or 4 foot by 3 or 4 foot, you're spraying it on there. You can get it really rubbed in before it locks in and tries to bite into it. So you got plenty of time to move it around. You know, I wouldn't go to lunch and try to come back and move it around, but yeah, if you spray it on a decent sized little panel, you've got plenty of time to move it around and get it cleaned up. The solvent base in it, it's on that one. I would have to get some of the technical stuff to let you know on the side on that one. Yep. Apologize.
I just have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
About surface prep,
Yes.
how fine a sandpaper can you go without sealing up?
Well, the question he's got is on the sandpaper, how fine of a sandpaper without basically you're closing up the wood pores, burnishing the wood, at that point it's kind of polished out. It's not going to go down into the grain and to get the look that you want. It kind of depends on, the substrate as well, because different substrates, you can sand differently, but I wouldn't go more than, 400 or 600, fine grit, on that, because you still want it open some. So to get down into it, to give you that true color. Does that answer? Okay. Does anybody else got anything? We're going to move on to another stain. Yes, sir.
You talked about the dyes.
Yep.
Usually stable for use as the dyes, are they UV stable for use?
Yeah, you talking about the
outdoors?
NGRs? The ones I first talked about,
Well, dye as opposed to.
or the
stable.
dye concentrates? Is that
Yeah,
what
dye.
you're talking? Yeah, dye concentrates. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to move on while we're talking about stains and coatings as well. We've just launched, because everybody nowadays is wanting to go green and everything, and we've got a new waterborne coatings that we just came out with. We're calling it the Adura Green line. With this, we've got stains and coatings, but in these brochures or online here, we've got an outdoor, interior, acrylic, conversion varnish, and sealers. They're all waterborne, but the beauty with these, they act like a solvent base. I've sprayed these personally myself, and even the stains. You couldn't, if I laid it down beside a solvent-based panel or this waterborne, you couldn't honestly tell me the difference. I mean, they're just so radiant. They're not cloudy like you think waterborne would be. You can just crystal clear. You can see right through them, as far as that, just like you're using solvent. But the good thing is it's waterborne, and a lot of people are trying to get that done, especially you're probably getting asked that on restoring pieces and all. Are you using solvent or are you using waterborne products, because it's going back in their home? And some people just don't understand finishing, once it gases off, whether you're using nitrocellulose, conversion varnish, any of that stuff, once it gases, it's safe, for the house. If Chris went up and chewed on a piece of nitrocellulose coatings, it's not going to hurt him because it's done gassed off, but we hope that he doesn't. But he hadn't yet when he's came to the house. So but yeah, but this is a good line. I mean, we've got a ton of options in that. And the beauty of this new line we've just launched, we've got these stains here. And if you get these 8 core colors right here, you can make any of these stains that you see over here to the right of y'all. On that. So you can actually make these stains yourself, and we've made it easier. We've even gave you the formula, broke it down so where you can make just a quart. If you had these 8 core colors and a clear base, it tells you how to mix it. So that way you could just mix enough for that project and hit that. And, or if you're refinishing and you just want a selection to go by, we have a Fandex that you could get. And then when your customers come to you, have them to pick out of that Fandex, you can make your own colors, and the only money you've got in it's just in them 8 core colors and that clear base. And if you needed to, warm it up or cool it off, you could just tweak it a little bit, on that to take it one direction or the other. But yeah, it's a real good system we've got. We just keep adding to our water-based. And as far as the outdoor, we've done testing on it as well, out in like the Arizona desert atmosphere, where it's out all day and night and in the sun directly and stuff. And you were getting about 2 years out of, direct high heat low humidity, sitting out there all day long out of that exterior clear coat. So if you run across projects, we do offer an exterior clear for that. And you can get it in quarts and gallons, so you don't have to worry about buying a 5-gallon pail at that. So just some more options that we're offering people, as far as trying to get them into waterborne because that's what we're seeing, on the furniture side, the cabinets, everything. Everybody's wanting to go waterborne this day and time. We understand because we're trying to get everything we can green guarded, even our, which Chris is going to go into it in a little bit. Our markers you'll see on it, he'll show you they're green guarded too. So we're trying to make everything safe for the people using it, plus the homeowner when you take that piece back to them or they pick it up at that point. So any questions on that, the water-based stuff? All right. We're going to move on to some other options that we also carry. A lot of people don't know for the wood turners. We do have a wood turners finish that we offer, and also a friction polish as well. We offer that as well for the turners out there. So just some of the stuff that people didn't realize Mohawk carried, that we do carry that. We carry fingerboard oil and different things for your Luthers out there for that side of finishing or refinishing your instruments. We also have a piano lacquer, instrument lacquer as well, to go along with that. We've got a lot of piano companies using that piano lacquer, and we've not got a complaint from them. They say it works beautiful. It sprays, buffs up, and just they can't live without it, basically. So just some of the stuff. We do have Tungle, salad bowl finish clear, the ones that are in, that might be into that, the Danish oil. We carry all that different products. Your leafing, if you're into the gold leafing and stuff. We also carry that products, just to kind of give you a little rundown on some of the stuff that we carry. We also have different kind of polishes for the furniture and stuff after you get it done, that's not going to contaminate it and all. And also we have a shellac as well. So I know a lot of people use the shellacs. But one thing I did want to mention, we do have some, a lot of people don't want to spray stuff. We do have some finish up polyurethanes. All these are wipe on. We've got the Wheel Pro. That's our padding finish. The Lacquer cover padding finish. That's our French polish. Basically, you would use that when you're doing French polish. And we've got just a number of different things that it's according to what your application is at that point, just a range of different products for your finishing, just to get you where you need to go. And some people, they turn pins and they use the CA glue, the instant glue. We carry all that, all your CA glues, the different viscosities from thin, medium to heavy, different size bottles. So if you just a hobbyist and just do it every once in a while, make a pin for birthdays or holidays, you don't have to get a big thing. You can get small ounces of it to do that kind of work as well. So any questions so far on any of them products? Yes, sir.
You have an online?
Yeah, you can go on our website. If you take one of the catalogs, it's got the website, it's got everything in it. You can see our colors, and it'll actually tell you about the product. We also, we have all kinds of demos on YouTube as well under Mohawk. So if you're not sure how something works, like something we might demo today, and you're like, I don't remember how to exactly use it, you can go on YouTube and see some of the demos. Yes, sir. Any other questions? All right, and then we're going to jump on over to some of our clears as well. We do carry, which you can get it in small amounts or large, anywhere from a quart, gallon, 5-gallon pail. We still offer you. We do have your nitrocellulose, your basic lacquers, which everybody still uses a lot of on that. We carry pre-cats, conversion varnish. We also have your polyurethanes and all. We also have a one thing that nobody else has is ISO-free urethane. That way you don't have to worry about the cyanides and all that. You don't have to wear no mask or anything like that. I've got a lot of big furniture companies that that are currently buying that because they don't want to have to worry about their employees having to wear any kind of mask in the booth or anything. They just go in just like I am, turn the booth on and spray it. It's ISO free, so it's friendly, but you get that rock hard urethane that you're looking for. So they're using it daily, been using it for years. And also we do offer that as well for some of the clears. And if you're not wanting to spray, I know a lot of people don't want to spray. We do have aerosols. You can get them, you know, your pre-cat in an aerosol that sprays good. If you're, say, you know, everybody's used the aerosol and sprayed, sometimes your fan pattern is not as wide. We do offer different nozzles, so you can just pop that off and you can buy one of our heavy volume. Like say you had a desktop and you didn't want to spray gun it, but you're hard to get across it with just a regular aerosol and it's giving you that dry pass, you know, the little white pass through it. You can switch the tip out to a heavy volume and it's going to spray really wide and it's going to throw twice the amount of volume out. It's almost like you're using a spray gun. So you can spray the top of a dresser and get that wide pass and not have to worry about a spray gun or anything like that. So that's enough. And these little nozzles are hardly anything, you know, to get one as far as that. So, but yeah, one thing Chris was talking about too, on all of our aerosol cans, you'll see a little black dot. What that little black dot is for, you can, I guess y'all can see it. It's just real minute there. If you get one of our aerosol cans, no matter what it is, always turn the nozzle to it, because the reason why your valve comes down to about right there, and then you got a siphon tube that's going to drop down, but your siphon tube's curved. If you've got that lined up, that siphon tube's going to be sitting right down in here. So you'll get all your fluid all the way through the can. If you don't have that lined up, your siphon tube could be up here. You get halfway across that piece, start spitting and sputtering or paint. You ever had a can do that? That's why you got to line that up. So that way your tube is your best shot down there. Always shake the can. In our cans, you'll hear that little rattle. It's basically a marble that's down in the can, and that's just to agitate it. So you want to make sure if you don't hear that, you know, you can just kind of pop it down on the table and that'll break it loose. Because sometimes if you get our paints, they're so heavily pigmented, it will lock that up. And we also tell you to kind of store the can upside down if you've got paints, because that way it'll settle around the valve. It don't stick as bad. And when you turn it upright, it'll start falling down during the shake at that point. But yeah, always shake it and line that up on that. But we do have pre-cats in aerosols, nitrocellulose in aerosols. It won't say nitrocellulose. It will by the description online or in our catalog, but it's going to be tone finish is what the nitrocellulose cans will be if you want that. We also have numerous sanding sealers. We've got a heavy body sanding sealer. I mean, it is really, the solids on it, I think is right at 26%. So it's very high solid. So if you're trying to seal something up, it will seal it up really quick. We have the easy vinyl sealer as well. So, and we've got some sealers that if you don't want the easy vinyl, but you don't want heavy body, we've got just some regular sealer as well. So on that, so numerous different options in sealer. The top coats, we've got all the different sheens from dead flat, that's around a 0 to 5 sheen, up until your 90 sheen, that's your high gloss and everything in between it in our nitrocellulose, our pre-cats. And also we have a, we call our high performance lacquer, and that's in all the sheens as well. What this is for indoor, outdoor. You can use it in either place. If you're spraying it over brass, different things like that, hard surfaces, this will adhere to it. But we do also have a brass lacquer. If you just want it just for brass lacquer, we've got different sheens in that as well. But this high performance indoor, outdoor, it'll stick to powder coat, all that stuff. So if you need something of that caliber, we have that as well. So Any questions so far? I know I'm going over a lot. That's why I'm trying to stop in between. Yes, sir.
What do you recommend to prime MDF and how many coats does it take?
The question is, what do I recommend to prime MDF and how many coats? Are you referring to aerosol can or anything? Yeah, I would definitely go with a high solids. Because being MDF, it's going to pretty much, that first coat, it's going to soak down in it. So you're going to probably, if you're using our high solids, I would say it's going to be about 2 coats. It's just according how much it's basically the wood's going to drink, the sealer, but usually about 2 coats will get you good because it's full of solids. It's going to seal it up pretty quick on you. And it's going to drive even the aerosol, or if you're spraying it with a cup gun, it's going to flash off and dry pretty quick. You don't have a real long wait time. I would say, probably 30 minutes, you'll be able to start sanding on it at that point. And it'll lock it in. And it's not going to cloud it up or anything either. If you're trying to still get that beauty of the wood, shining through, if it's got some kind of inlay or anything on that MDF underneath it. But if it's just pure raw MDF and you're trying to paint it, still just 2 coats. Any other questions? All right. But now we do carry blush, super blush. You'll have one that's called super blush, and you're going to have one that's just regular no blush. The cans look the same. It's got our blue label. You can't really tell unless you read it. But the only difference, one's a little stronger formula, our super blush. We usually use that like in Florida or southern states, coastal, just where the humidity and everything's a little higher. Does anybody know what blush is? All right. Blush is basically, you'll see it in paints. You'll see it on wood tone finishes. It's where you see that white milky. If you ever taken a pizza box, sit it on your dining room table or something that gave it that white ring, that's blush. That's basically what that is. It'll look almost like the same as an acid bloom, chemical reaction on something, but you'll get stuff that'll have, like on this wood panel here, it's got like that hazy, cloudy, just splotchy all up. Can everybody see that? And that's blush. What blush is when you take in a finish, a clear coat, paint, whatever, you could spray it out of a can, a gun, or whatever. When it's traveling through the air, say that paint that you're spraying, whether it's a cup gun, aerosol, it's traveling through that air, picking up everything in its path, whether it's trash that's floating around, moisture. So when it's traveling through, it's picking up all that moisture and it hits that surface. So when it hits that surface, it's got everything with it, the moisture and everything. And as the finish, if you've ever noticed, finishes dry, clears or paints from the top down. If you're like, oh, that's dry, and you got to pick it up, you put your finger in it, that's why. And we've all done it. I know I have, to go to pick up something and thought it was dry, but that's why. And if that top flashes off too quick, it traps everything down in it. So that moisture is trapped under that top layer and it can't get out. It wants to get out, but it's just trapped. It flashed off too quick. It didn't release gas off in time to release all that moisture out. And that's what creates this right here. So at that point, you're like, oh, it's ruined. But if you take our super blush or no blush, just lightly mist it, what that does, it takes that nitrocellulose or other finishes, it re-wets it to its wet state long enough to let this moisture back out. It don't matter if I just did this or if it's 3 years old, it'll re-wet it where that'll come out at that point. Yep, the blush right here. That's your white, kind of milky look. You'll get that with paints as well and your tone finish colors. But I'm gonna spray a little bit of the blush on there just to show you how it don't take much. We got a question here in the back real quick. And then I'll demo how easily it pulls something that dramatic out. Yes,
For those
sir.
of us that don't have temperature and humidity controlled spray booths,
Yes.
isn't blush typically caused by say high humidity above like 60%?
Yes.
So don't spray above 60%?
Yes, but you can still, the question is, the blush, basically the humidity affects it, if it's above 60%. So when he's spraying in his booth and everything, and he has no choice because he's got to spray that day, he can actually, if it does blush in just one spot, he can take an aerosol can, or if he's wanting to extend his spray, he can add it into his top coat. It'll just take a little longer to flash off, but you won't get the blushing. So that gives you a couple of options, and we carry all that stuff. So you can add it to your clears to give it that. Some people use it not just so much for blush, it just gives them more time for it to flow out while they're doing the passes. If they're doing large desks or large tabletops, as they're trying to get across it, it stays wet longer so they can get across that piece without having any dry spray.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Using a brush and lacquer and spraying it, doesn't that help with that problem too?
Yes, it does. Yeah, the question doing the brush lacquer and instead of spraying cuts back on having that blush issue. Yes, it does.
Will that blush material help with the flow of orange peel?
The question he asked, would adding the no blush retarder basically to your clear coats, will that help it flow out so you don't have the orange peel in your finishes? The question on that, the answer is yes. It will help it flow. That it'll basically let it settle out, flow out, so you don't have that orange peel. Some people might not know what orange peel is in your finish. Basically, it looks like the surface of an orange, and that's the way your clear will look, like bumpy, like a basketball orange. And that'll help if you add some retarder to it. It'll help it flow out. Yes, sir. Anybody else? All right. Well, I'm gonna spray a little. Everybody can see how white and splotchy and nasty this is, correct? Okay. Get the can here. Yeah, I don't want to spray the wrong one on there. Because just to let you know, Mohawk, this is how easy it is. See them cans, they look alike. I'm holding it so the camera can see it. You wouldn't know the difference. And this is quick clean. This just clean stuff. Takes your waxes and polishes off of surface. This is your super blush. If you spray down on nitrocellulose and took a rag and wiped it while it was wet, it'd pull the top coat, your stain, everything down to your bare wood. So that's how you want to be careful and look at your cans or mark them for sure. So we want to make sure we've got the dot and the nozzle lined up. Go ahead and shake it a couple times. And this one's already clean. So we're just going to, and you don't want to drown it. That's the thing with this, because you don't want it to run, because what's it doing? It's re-wetting the surface. If it runs, what's it going to do? It's going to pull your top coat, all your stains, everything with it. So you're just doing fine mist. Let it look at it a minute. And then if you need to, you can add another one. It's better to go light. And no real rhyme or reason as far as spray. You ain't got to worry about perfect spray pattern. We'll let that sit a minute, but you can already see it's pulling it out down at that bottom half. I don't know if everybody can see that quick, so as I kind of let it stay up there, but you can see how it's already pulling it out. No more than I sprayed on it. I know it's got a little odor, but everybody see? Just that little bit sprayed on it. And say this ring, you just picked up a couple of end tables. They got water rings on them. And that's all is really wrong with it. Maybe touching up some legs or something. You could miss some of this on the top of it. And you might not even have to do anything else to it at that point. It'll pull them right out. Or if you've got, I've got my kids that's always sitting pizza boxes on my dining room table and hot cocoa in the wintertime. I just spray a little of that on there and I'm back in business. They just got to deal with the smell for a few hours in the house. But yeah, I mean, you can see that that's going to flash on off, but I could spray some here as well and get the rest of that out. So, I mean, as long as you let it dry, and you can see it's drying pretty quick. So you just got to not mess with it for a few minutes. Yes, sir.
What's the set time? How long does it
This one here, like no more than I sprayed, I would say probably about 10 minutes, 15 tops, on that. If you're just spraying light coats, it'll be dry to the touch here in a minute. And also the question, I don't know if everybody heard the dry time on it. Basically, if you're doing light coats, about 10, 15 minutes, because you're not drowning it. You're just trying to get it re-wet that top, release that moisture, and you don't have to worry about that white ring no more and try to worry about how am I going to stain to blend it in, to camouflage it in, or sand it all the way out and refinish it. That's the worst thing you can do, well, unless you just want to spend extra time and money to get it back new again, and you could just mist an aerosol on it at that point. Any other questions on that? Yes, sir. Wait a minute, hold on just a second.
Would it work for 20, 50-year-old furniture? So
Yeah, if say you've got an antique, is the question he's got. If you got an antique, an older piece that's got old nitrocellulose on it or different kind of finishes, it will still wet it down and release that moisture out of it. Yes. You just don't want to dry it. Yeah. It re-wets it to that state. You don't want to rub it until it's dry.
Now you said other finishes. What about shellacs for older furniture?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What about shellac, like on older furniture that's 50 years?
Oh, the older. Yeah, it will. It'll still wet it down. Yes. He was talking about the shellac on that. If you couldn't hear the question, would it still work on that? And it will.
If you take a 20-year-old piece that
So you take a 20-year-old piece that has clear shellac on it,
Yes, sir.
that has rings,
Rings around it. Yeah.
anything, like I've got grandkids and everything. You
Yeah.
you spray this on there
Yes.
and just
And let it.
lightly mist it a few times
Yeah.
to your own satisfaction.
Yes, yeah, just lightly mist. Don't want to drown it. On some of your older slacks, if you want to go with the super blush, it's just stronger. You could use less material versus the no blush, but it will re-wet it and pull that moisture rings out. Yes, sir. This is the magic in a can, as we call it.
what's the proper name again?
The one that I demoed here is super blush. It's the super blush retarder is the proper name. We have, like I said, we got a regular no blush retarder. It's just not as strong as this one. But if you're doing older antiques or wherever you might be, if you're in the coast or wherever, if you just want a stronger, use less material in the long run, go with the super blush.
What's the shelf life
On these,
cans?
we any of our aerosols, even this, you'll get easy 3 years or so out of it. Yep. But you'll probably, being a super blush like that, you'll get more than that. When you start talking paints and clears, especially if it's nitrocellulose, you have to be careful because it will amber. A nitrocellulose will. Just talking about shelf life was the question out of a aerosol.
If the original finish was matte, satin, gloss, after that, does it return to that original?
Yes, that's a good question. The question the gentleman had was, if you use this, is it going to alter your sheen? Like if, say, your piece was matte or if it was gloss, will it take it one direction or the other? No, it does not mess with the sheen because this has no lacquer or anything in it. So it will not change the sheen. It's going to take it, once it dries back, it's going back into its natural state, whether it was a 10 sheen, 90 sheen, 40 sheen, it goes back to that natural state. This is magic in a can, especially for people that restore furniture. I know I did restoration for a long time too, on desk and just numerous different things. And this was a lifesaver right here growing up for sure.
Once
But-
you take the blush out from the hot chocolates of your daughters, if they put a cup in the same place, will it?
You can do it as many times as you want. Yes. The question he added,
It doesn't protect it from blushing.
no, it will not protect it. It's just re-wetting the original. The question he's got, will it protect it? Or if, say, like my boys, they'll probably do it again this weekend to me, but say they put a pizza box on the table Friday night, I blush it Saturday, and here we go again. My boys wanted another pizza and they blushed the table again, and here I go again Saturday night. You can do it again Saturday night or day after day to get it pulled out if they haven't learned or as far as that. But it will not protect it from doing it again because you're not really adding a protection. You're just re-wetting what was already there. Your protection, whether the nitrocellulose or whatever top coat that you got, it's going to go back into that same whatever protection level it is.
Is the effectiveness of the blush affected by waxes or any kind of polishes that have been applied over the years? Does it need to be cleaned before you blush it?
Yeah, the question he's got, should we clean it prior to putting the blush on it? The question is yes, especially with anything nowadays, but if you're dealing with antiques, yes, that's hands down. That's the first thing of a good repair, refinish. You always want to clean it. And our best cleaner, which we're going to show you here when he's doing some of the touch up, it makes it easy. We actually named this one Easy Quick Clean. You can spray it on any finish, any surface. It pulls out all your polishes, wax from down in the grain and everything. So you always want to have a can of this right here because it's a lifesaver as far as that. So clean the surface prior, whether you have our can or whoever's can. Make sure the surface is clean of debris or waxes or polishes, because that way you don't have that. It's not really going to react to the waxes or polishes, but it might not penetrate all the way through as easy as quick. And you're sitting there just wasting your own money and time at that point. So a good rule of thumb, always clean before you do any kind of repair or refinish. Yeah, the quick clean pulls out all the silicone. The question he had, does silicone affect it and all that too? Yeah, any of your silicone products, but this quick clean will pull it right out at that point, all your silicones. And people that love Pledge, it pledges everything just because it makes it shiny and new again. That's our worst nightmare, especially finishers, on that, because they don't realize how bad it hurts us because it gets down into the grain of the wood. But yes, this will pull it right out. This dries quick. Spray it on there. It pulls it right out just with terry cloth towel, any kind of cloth, and it dries quick and you're ready to do whatever you need to do. All right. Yes, sir. Oh, okay.
You don't know what the
Yeah, is it finish agnostic? Unknown flooring finish, for example. So if you don't know what the finish is, can you use it on anything?
Are they talking about the
only
blush or the quick clean? I know we kind of drifted back and forth.
I think it's something about the blush, probably, well, either. Is the blush or the
Yeah, you can
the
use either
finish
one.
agnostic?
Yeah, you can use either one on that. They're both safe. It's not going to hurt hardwood flooring or anything. Trust me, between my dogs and I got 3 boys. Yeah. It's not going to hurt anything. They didn't answer back, did they? Okay. Just let me know if it does on that. But yeah, all of our products are made for furniture, flooring, any of that cabinetry. So and the finishes are all pretty much similar, from polyester to UV to conversion varnish to nitrocellulose and waterborne products, different things. So you can use it on all that. It's going to be safe as far as that. So any other questions on what we went through?
This probably doesn't have anything to do with the blush or anything like that, but
Yes, sir.
do you have any UV protectant polyurethanes, like for outdoor furniture, that's really effective for a long time? Deck tables, chairs, things like that?
Yeah. Do you want to spray it in an aerosol? Is that what you're trying to?
No, I was thinking for just brush on, like for a deck table or something like that.
Yeah, we do have, the question he's got is something that's going to be more like a UV finish and all, where you could brush on or wipe on. Is that correct? Okay. What we could offer as far as that, we would go back to our finish up polyurethanes. That's going to be your wipe on. And we also have another one that's called finish up. Both of them can be wiped on or squeegeed on. Say you have a large surface, you can move it around and get everything covered, and it'll pretty much level itself back out. It will have a little bit of a, when you're applying it, so it don't scare you, it does have a little milky blue hue to it when you're first putting it on, but it just turns crystal water clear once it dries out. But it will self-level, and both of them products are self-leveling, wipe on, or brush, however you want to do it, squeegee it. Some people I've seen take a little cloth and wrap around it and just apply it and just overlap your rows just a little bit. And it lays down beautiful and it's crystal water clear and durable. Yes. To answer your question, yes, sir. It's rock hard finish UV. Yep. Kind of a finish that you would get once it cured out.
How do you?
As far as with it blushing and stuff, yeah, coming up through that finish, yes, you could use that with it. It will, some of our, like if you're using a competitor's product or something, yes, you can still use our blush with that product, and it won't react or give you any kind of lifting or bubble up or cause fish eyes, anything like that. It'll still give you the same, it'll pull it out. It'll re-wet it, basically. Yes, sir. We'd rather you use our products, but if you're using somebody else's, yeah, you don't have to worry. That's true. You don't know who refinished it 20 years ago and what they used, what finish is on it. But yeah, you can still use the same thing. It'll re-wet it. To that question, just to let you know, what he was asking is, say they're using, or you don't really know what's on that table or a little chair or anything. Can you still use our blush, not knowing if it's a Mohawk finish on that? And the answer is yes, you can still use that. It re-wet it, release it, let it gas off, so it'll get that moisture out of there. Yes, sir.
If you're doing butcher block, charcuterie boards, rolling pins, what do you have that's food safe?
We've got our salad bowl finish as far as that. If you're trying to, it's a clear as well, but it's food grade safe for all that stuff. Yes, sir. Wanted to know what you could use for like butcher blocks and different things, as a question that the gentleman asked. And our salad bowl clear finish is food grade safe, and everything has been tested. So that way you can put it on butcher blocks and different things to give it that little extra protection, give it that little bit of, let the wood either, stay that natural look, but still get that protection. So all the stuff's not seeping down in it, but it's also food grade. So they could chop up and do whatever they want to on it. Any other questions at this point? One last aerosol, we didn't bring all of them with us, but we do have a shadow toner and an aerosol. What that is, I love it, especially when I'm refinishing and doing stuff like that. It'll move your color ever so slightly, either if you're needing to warm something up, cool something down, it'll take you in that direction. And I know being an aerosol, it scares you to death. It's just going to spit and sputter and leave little dots all over this piece. Or say you've got a desk or cabinet or anything that has just a little style that just needs be warmed up a little bit. And you don't want to, it could be just the way it's laying or anything. So you could take our shadow tones and move that color around. And we've got all different ones. Let me grab this board, Chris. But just to show you that it sprays just clear. This is the transparent orange one we brought. And I'm just going to spray it down here. And you can see how it's warming that panel up, and you don't see any dots. It's not going to paint it out. It's just moving the color or adding color. Like if you got something that's sit in front of the window and faded, and all that's really does is just needs a little bit of color. You can move that color around, add it, blend it in with these shadow tones. We have the transparent orange, one that's a little more stronger than this one. It's just regular orange. We've got black shadow tone if you're just needing to give it some more depth to darken it up. We have the green shadow tone, blue shadow tone, so that way you can drift it or, you know, change it around however you want to. But these are great as far as moving color around, bringing just one section of a piece back to life, and then you can just top coat right over it. Or if you don't, if it looks good like it is, you don't really have to top coat over it. I mean, it's going to feel good, feel smooth at that point. But just like, I wish we'd have brought some different ones, but you can bring that to life too on this board. I just want to show you how you can add a little warmth. I don't know if it's picking up on the camera or not, but just this moves color just ever so slightly. It's not going to just go wham and take you to the other side of the color wheel. It's just barely moving it to where you can get it where you want it at that point. So that's the beauty of it. It's not going to jump all at one time. You just keep adding layers till you get it to where you want it. And it will not spot it or anything like you would think a regular aerosol would do. It just lays, stays transparent. It's just moving that color. And say you got it too warm, just pick up our green or blue, spray right over top of it, and it'll take you back to the other side of the color wheel. It'll cool it right back off at that point. So these are really great to have. You don't use a lot of them, but they're really good to have in your arsenal, you know, when you're finishing and stuff, to sit there to really hone in a spot, you know, or just say the wood just didn't take the stain as good and you're needing to bring it in. Shadow tones is your friend as far as that. Anybody have any questions? Can everybody see how that just moved the color just down at the bottom, just ever so slightly? And it don't spot it up either. So I'm gonna walk right here. You can see where I just sprayed it. It won't spot it up, or even on the back of that panel where I sprayed. It's just ever so slightly gonna move it. And to answer your question on dry time, I think this gentleman here, I mean, it's dry. You could ship it out the door, put it in your truck, take it back to the customer at that point. So that was the no blush that I'm referring back to. You know, it's been what, 10, 15 minutes. It's completely dry, smooth, nice feeling. So it's not going to feel bumpy, rough, like dry spray or anything like that. It's going to be just smooth as it was prior to that. So
When you're
I don't, but you know, because I might have had to carry that 500-pound desk into my shop, but no, that helps you, you know. And I've always been one that I always tell a client, if I pick up a piece, I'll say you got two options. You know, if this does what I think it's going to do, it's going to be at this price. And if I have to refinish the whole thing because it didn't turn out to what I wanted it to be, this is your price. But it does. I mean, if it's just white rings, it will pull it out. So you'll know ahead of time and stuff. But if you're doing it in home in somebody's house, it does have an odor. So you might want to shut the door or open up a window, because our no blush does have a little bit of an odor, but it'll air out pretty quickly if you turn on a fan or open a door, if you're having to do it on site at somebody's place, because I've been there. Yes. Hold on.
when you're shouting, no matter how loud you.
Yes, sir.
The rings are not as deep or into the wood and finish as a coastal saltwater would be.
Yes,
And other,
correct.
and even around here, there's a high humidity.
Right.
This product doesn't just, it removes all of that?
Yes, it will. That's when I said, the question he's got, some of the coastal areas or higher humidity, some of them rings really are down in there. You've probably went to the beach and seen some of the hotels and stuff that's got them on there that's really down in it. It looks like it's pretty penetrated up underneath the surface. It will pull them out. That's why I always say use the super blush. It's the strongest. It penetrates a little deeper and you won't have to use as much, but I would still light coat. Don't try to drown it just because you know it's a heavy white ring. You'll be surprised with just what a little bit will do. And if you do have to do 2 coats because it's real severe, to really let it all gas out at that point. But even that first one, say you got a severe ring, you put a little light pass, it's still going to pull out. If it don't pull out all of it, it'll pull out the biggest majority of it. And you might just have to lightly mist wherever that area is to finish pulling it out. But you won't be there more than 15 minutes between each coat, you know, if you're doing it on site. You know, you can actually do that and do work on the other side or something while that's pulling it out, or another piece. Because that's what I used to do when I did the hotels and stuff. And actually, I've got some to go and do. I'm teaching a class at Virginia Beach next week, and that's one of the things we're going to show them how to fix is their tables with the blush, and where people are sitting in drinks that, you know, with the ice in it and all that water, and then they finally decide to throw it away, and it's just ringed all up. So yeah, but yeah, to answer your question, it does work at the coastal areas as well. So. Yes. Yes. Is the black mark, the question she's asking on the hardwood floors, she's got ice and stuff that's falling out, I guess you're saying, that's making black marks. Is these black marks just, okay, on that, I would try, at first, I would try just our quick clean, see if it'll pull it up off the top of that surface. If not, yes, I would try the no blush at that point. Because it might just be sitting on the top. It might not be up underneath it, you know, unless that water's laid there and you didn't realize the ice had fell. And then, yeah, it did create a blush underneath it at that point. But if it's just sitting on the top, which it probably is, just that quick clean will pull it off a can of it.
Back to the UV protection.
Yep.
But instead of outdoor furniture, do you have something to put on the exotics to keep them from browning out, to retain their color longer?
Are you looking for something to wipe on or spray? Either or. Yeah, I mean, you could use our high performance aerosols. The question he's got is, do we have something that's like UV protective that'll help hold the color longer for your outdoor stuff? Our high performance acrylic aerosols has really got a high UV protection in it. So if you're just wanting to spray it with an aerosol, that will help hold that true color in that piece for something like patio furniture or something like that. It's got, you know, your turquoise blues and stuff like that, and you're trying to hold that true color. That our high performance lacquer would probably be your best bet for like patio furniture. It's got these coastal colors in it. You could get that and coat it, you know, put a couple coats of that on it. Does that answer? Okay. I think your mic got turned off.
Much for outside, but you know, if you had fancy inlays, multi-colors on a musical instrument, for example, how to protect those from, you know, browning out.
Right, right.
He's
talking about like your flooring, you know, fancy inlays and everything like that. If it was me, I would probably go back with our finish up polyurethanes, because you could really put it down in a big area with a squeegee and just let it at that point. You know, you wouldn't have to really worry about spraying it. But with the finish up polyurethanes, it's going to have the UV protection as well, but you'd be able to squeegee that floor and it's self-level itself at that point and give you the protection and color resistant fading, give you some time on that. So it don't fade out one summer. And then you're like, I did all this work and had somebody come in. Yeah, that would be my choice if I was doing that, would be our finish up polyurethane on a big flooring surface. Any other questions? Because we're going to go over some ways to actually do some repairs too. And so that way you'll know how to do some really simple color work, which Chris is going to go over some different marker options that we have. And the old blend-all powders, we still have the blend-all powders, but we have a blend-all stick now as well. He's going to go into that. And also, everybody's seen with the hot knife how you used to have to burn in with the hot knife and you'd scorch the finish. If you wasn't a 30-year veteran, you're scared to do it because you're going to make chatter marks and all that. We've got a new way of burning in. You can burn in on the furniture, hardwood flooring, linoleum, LVT, any of that stuff, because you're not worrying about leveling it with the hot knife. You're just going to level it with this plastic polymer block. It don't matter how much fill you put in it. It levels it perfect. The only thing is if you put the whole stick in something you should have used just a little bit, you're just going to buy more sticks from me. That's the only thing. And we don't mind that at one bit, as far as that. But this new way of burning in, if you've never picked up and done any furniture repair in your whole life, you can do a burn in with this kit right here and act like you've been a 30-year veteran your whole life. These kits are they're wonderful as far as fixing little gouges, little nicks and all that when you're refinishing something. But I'm going to pass the mic to Chris if everybody's good right now on some of the finishing questions.
Okay, he's bringing in the closer now. How many people have repaired furniture in here? I know y'all are very interested in finishing, but a lot of times you could repair a piece instead of replace a leg or a top or any of that stuff. We have so many good materials to repair furniture. I mean, we got some new dye markers that you can actually draw grain back into wood and it'll stick and it'll never stay. I want to go back to the aerosols. He said to put the dot on there. Just make sure you spray it one time for me and 2 times for you. That way you'll buy more cans. Okay. The color, sometimes it gets rubbed off, and people used to use blend-all powders and they would break it down with naft or thinner or stuff like that, and they could actually mix their colors. But we've actually put the powders, as Ricky said, we've put them in to a stick now. And the only issue that I have is it's really soft. So when you take them out of the pack, you want to kind of pop it out from the back to make sure. Now, you also can do these just like the powder. If you want to cut, you can blend your colors in. You can take it multiple if you need to lighten it up. And my finger is the best tool I got, always. So we make a couple different kind of markers too. We have a pigment marker, and which really gives you a little duller sheen. And then we have dye markers, which we have 2 different kinds of the brush tip and the Pro Mark here. And they give you a higher sheen. If you had it on like a water-based, you knew it was a water-based finish, it would work the best. A lot of people think that you just take the marker. These markers have a ball in them just like the can. Here. So what a lot of people don't know, they get these markers and they see, oh, it matches great. They take the lid out, they start doing it, and it runs everywhere. If it just makes a mess. So how to keep that from doing that is you have to burp it like a baby. You put it up to your, shake it up real good, put it up to your ear, and you can actually hear it release the gases. So you want to pump it, get the color to the nib. This is great. These markers are great for worn edges. I mean, it's not just for tops or legs. It's really good for if you want to just like run it down the edge and it'll put the color in. If you're just where somebody's rubbed it off, or when you're moving it or anything like that. So it's really good for just kind of finishing up if you don't want to do a major repair. Now, when you look at these dye markers, got one already. Huh? Is it? Yeah. No, it actually, these they don't have a ball in them because they got dye in them. And it's really like a colored Sharpie. And it will, when it sticks, it's going to be a lot deeper. It's going to be a lot deeper and a lot darker. Everybody seen the camera? See how much darker? And I didn't even touch it hardly. So how many people have replaced a leg or a top when you had a nick in it? Anybody ever used epoxy? So we make 13 colors in this epoxy sticks, and this stuff is awesome. A lot of furniture factories use it, and it comes in 13 different colors, and it actually has the hardener in the middle. Comes with a little lid right here. And I suggest you save this because if you don't put it on here, it can harden. Now, what I suggest is we suggest to cut it in slices. A lot of people will pinch it off and use it. And then what that does is that ruins part of your stick. So what I did one earlier where y'all could see how hard it is. And what you do is when you slice it off, you're going to knead it in your hands, and you're going to make it hard. The white is what I brought with me today. It actually has a little more cure time. So when you are filling your hole or your gap, you can use water, a little soap, and you can move it around and flatten it out, and it'll makes it work. But I always take the little extra that I have and I use it as an egg timer. So when this is hard, it's when you hear how hard it's gotten in that little bit of time. That'll tell you when you can sand. Now this will take finish. It'll take any kind of color. You can use a marker. You can mark it up, and you can just spray a finish on it or whatever. It will take it. But you definitely want to use the color coordinated to your wood. Like what we have a lot of problems with, especially in the furniture industry, is they have walnut, and you got different variations of walnut. So they might have to use walnut or mix a little bit of color and try to get it close to the wood. That way, when you go to finish it, and that's especially true when you're going to just clear something. If something's just natural, you definitely want to get your epoxy as close as you can to it.
Just to add to that, I'm going to talk real loud real quick. On the epoxy, it can be real, just to add to, I'm turned off. Can y'all hear me? Nope. All right, can you hear me now? Okay, just to add to it real quick, I know Chris was going to grab something else. The epoxy, to answer anybody's questions that might ask it here in a minute, it is rock hard. You can route it, drill it, screw it. It's not going to come out. It'll take all that. You can send it right through your router and it'll stay true to it. It's harder than the wood that you put it on. So on that, so you can rebuild corners or whatever you need to do as far as that stuff. So if you're working on desks, end tables, the corners missing, you can reshape it. And it gets so hard. The reason why you want to try to use some water or Murphy's also is you want to shape it and take off as much as you can, because when you go to sand it, it don't sand like Bondo, because Bondo is so soft. Everybody loves to sand Bondo. I do too. But if you shape it, near the shape, take most of it off. It'll be your friend because it's a good permanent hard repair. Like I said, you can drill it, screw it, route it, whatever you want to do on that. So
Otherwise, you're going to be sanding a lot.
you're going to take off a lot of your existing stain color around it. So I just wanted to add that because I know a lot of people, think putty. I'm already using Bondo. Bondo is good if you want to sand something lightly or just kind of grain filling or skim coating. But if you're rebuilding corners or missing little decorative pieces, this epoxy putty, that's going to be your best friend because you're not going to get a call from Mrs. Jones a month down the road when she went to dust something or her grandkid came in and hit the corner and it fell off because it was made out of Bondo. This is a good permanent repair as far as that. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Well, let's go to the, I know people have used knives in the past, and like Ricky said, this is a real simple way to do a burn in. You can learn it in 5 minutes, and all you have to do is match your color to whatever wood you have, and you can see that you can get some colors that are matching. I don't know if he's going to be able to see me actually make the damage here. And I'm sure everybody knows Cling Spore, right? Cling Spore. Cling Spore carries a lot of our products. It's a good place to run out if you're close, pick up an aerosol or a fill stick or a marker.
You're probably about to do.
Yep, right here. See the damage that I've made in here, just a scratch. It does come with this little cooling pad here and the block. How many in here have used a soldering iron to do minor electrical? This thing is the same thing, and it can cut on. It's not gonna be hot. And the only way you're going to know it's on is when you see the light. You see the light? You see the light. So we're just going to hold her down, get it hot. Can you see?
I don't see the light.
It's going to melt. It's going to melt very easily.
Yeah, you're basically not wanting to try to level it. You're just like, if you got a gouge, you're just trying to overfill it slightly, like you're running a beaded column at that point. So then you're going to lay that plate on. Can y'all hear me now? Yeah. All right. While Chris is doing that, just to go back and talk a little bit real quick. When you're got that heating tool and you're touching the hard fill to it, you're just trying to melt it down into the damaged area, the gouge that's in there. You're not trying to level it with that tool. You're just using that as a heat source, and you're wanting it like the gouge that he had. You're just wanting to run it like a beaded column, just slightly overfill it. And then you're going to lay that metal plate, that's your chill block, that's just pushing it down into the damaged area, pulling some of the heat out and also getting any air bubbles out of it at that point. So
now I want you to look in here and you can see how I built it up so big.
yeah, right now you're probably thinking that's not too good of a repair, right? You
See,
see that big old block?
see how big it is?
Fill. And I agree with you. But here's where the magic is getting ready to happen with this plastic polymer block.
This block, like Ricky said, will not mess any finish up. So, and it's grooved different ways. It also, if you ever had a file and cleaned the file with a file brush, you just it's got teeth and you can just clean it out. It's very easy. All you got to do is just put there.
And it sounds like it's eating that piece up. I know everybody's thinking he's just made Parmesan cheese or something with that, but no, it won't scratch it up. I can show you on that shinier panel we were showing. on the no blush here in just a minute. But look how it leveled it and pulled it down, and you're gonna have a little bit of wax residue maybe left around it according to the type of wood substrate you're working with. And that's where we go back to our quick clean, spray a little bit on the rag, and he can clean up right around it, get that shiny spot. But everybody see that little shiny
See how it leveled out really nice?
Yeah, it's a little higher sheen, a little shiny spot. That's where you rubbed on it, but you notice none of the finish or top coats are missing. So when he takes a little bit of that quick clean, puts it on a rag and just lightly buffs it. You're not trying to press down hard because it will remove your wax, because that's what it's made to do, is remove waxes and any contaminants, but it'll take that shiny ring just with a little light buff. And just let it dry back out, and it should pull it right out for you.
I even lost where I done it.
But he should be able to show you here up there where it's gone at this point. No shiny spot.
It's hard to
No
tell where
finish,
it's at now.
No finish
Hold it.
missing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just right there. And that big shiny spot that y'all might have seen online or on the camera up here is gone. At this point, you only see a little bit of color difference. And that's where you could pick a stick that's closer. You can mix your sticks, or you can go back to where Chris was talking about the brush tip markers. Bring it in, just add a little bit of color, or if it's a lot of grain, you can just take and bring the grain pattern through that damaged area to just get rid of that witness line. The witness line is just the outer circle of that repair area. If anybody's wondering what a witness line is, it's not. They're getting ready to tell them in. They're going to come in. You don't hear the bad boy song playing or anything. So that's just to break it up from the repair from the original area.
So now you kind of, you hit it really well. When you have to really get close to see it.
You're basically just trying to camouflage it, trick the eye. I think this gentleman back here has a question. I'll take the mic since I've got it.
That's a wax product, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Well, will finishes go over it?
It will. You can put any kind of finish on it. Pre-cat. No, it will take it.
The question he had, was it a wax product? It is a wax product. It's got pigments in it, other things, but it's a hard wax. We consider our hard fill a permanent repair. You can use it in furniture, flooring, any of the different things, but you can put finish over it. It's not going to shrink, lift, or anything if you put the top coats over it. It's a permanent repair that's latched on.
When do you use the epoxy and when do you use that? Like, what's the difference?
Well, if you had a scratch, you would use the burn in where you could feel it. But if you have a busted corner or a busted edge, you're going to have to use the epoxy because it's going to be a more permanent fix.
The question that she had, in case anybody didn't hear, was when should you use epoxy versus this hard fill kit? Basically, if you've got a scratch, like Chris said, a little blemish or something, but if you're trying to rebuild a corner or different areas like that, you definitely want to use epoxy putty at that point. Yes, and not. We do have. You got two options. The question he had for the people that might not have heard was, what about a knot in a piece of wood? A knot in a piece of wood, if it's, I would use epoxy putty in that because it's probably going to be a larger area. If it's a little teeny spot in the knot, you could get away with using the hard fill. But we have another thing that we didn't bring, and I didn't talk about it. Shame on me. Chris hadn't.
Knot filler
We actually
gun.
have a knot filling system gun that works, and it's got a polymer stick that goes into the knot, shaves it down perfect. You can sand it after that, and it moves enough. If that knot moves, it moves with it, but it stays in forever.
Our customers are really using it on live edge stuff I mean, it comes with 10 different colors. You can get black, clear, walnuts, and maple. So it comes in a lot of different kinds. Some people want the clear to go in where they can see it, and then some people actually want the black in there. They want that black to come through, even if they're epoxying over it.
And the ones that might be interested in the not filling thing, unfortunately, we didn't bring it with us, but you can go on the YouTube and pull up the not filling gun system on the Mohawk, and you can see demo on YouTube there, you know, on that. It's really neat. We did it down in Georgia when I was down there at the show, and we demoed the hard fill and the not filling gun that week, and people just love the not filling system. Yes, the shellac sticks. A lot of people don't know what that's called unless you grew up in it. But yes, some people call them shellac sticks, lacquer sticks. The ones when you drop them in the floor, they break, and just like a light bulb on that. The question was
Acrylic,
asked,
and it's
But,
real
in
hard
our-
and high sheen.
Yeah, in our books, we have it's a different. Let me find them real quick, and I'll show you. Yeah, it's going to be our easy flow sticks, because we have plain sticks. To answer your question on what he was asking, the gentleman there should have mentioned it, was some people used to call them lacquer sticks and different names from our original burn-in sticks that we'd use our burn-in knives for, shellac sticks and other names. But we still have them. We've just changed the name of them, and it's easy flow burn-in sticks. But we have a plain stick, but a plain stick is going to be more like this one here. It's going to be a little softer, like the hard fill. The hard fill and the plain sticks are the same burn-in stick, but the plain stick, you have to do it the old school way with the hot knife, the burn-in bomb, and all that, and take a chance. If you're not 100% knowing what you're doing, you're going to scorch the finish, put chatter marks, or just pull the finish as you're going across it. So that's why we came up with this new way of burning in the hard fill instead of using the plain sticks. But the easy flow, if you're still wanting to burn in that way with the old shellac sticks, as you refer to, that's our same sticks, just a different name.
A clear liquid for the powders.
You know, the powders, you have to mix it with some kind of.
You can mix them with a lot of different things. You can mix them with thinner. You can mix them with a naft. So you can mix the powders with almost, a lot of people use different binding agents to make them powders. But these sticks, these blend-on sticks are really taking over. I mean, you can not only put color back into wood with these sticks, but you also can put it back in leather. We make some, I know this is the Woodworking Association, but we make some great leather products. But one thing you do have to remember, it was just like the powders. You have to lock the powders or these blend-off sticks in, because if you put it in an area and you rub it and you don't lock it in and then you rub it, it's going to come off and you're going to be lost. Once you, and there's a good side and a bad side of that. So if you mess the color up and you're not satisfied with it, you can just wipe it off, then start over. But when you get it in there and you get it like you want to, you need to lock it in. That way it gives it a top coat and you can't rub it off, and it's a permanent fix then.
Wait a minute.
When you took your stick against the edge of the board there, it darkened it because it was end grain. Do you have any kind of recommendation for a sealer first to calm that down a little bit so it doesn't get quite so dark?
Well, if you don't want a real dark, then I suggest you go to the pigment, because you can get it lighter with the pigment marker, which is the background, is the Ultramark. So the Ultramark is a little bit lighter, and it's going to be a lower sheen. So, but the ProMark, the one that I said is like a Sharpie, it's going to be a higher sheen, and it's going to be a really more permanent color because it's a dye.
But to answer your question is also, if you're still afraid of our Pro Mark and our Ultra Mark of being too dark, just penetrating, just soaking down into that wood, you can put a clear, if you don't want to spray that, we have a clear marker that you can run across it first, kind of seal it, and then put your marker on the top, if that helps you. Because a lot of people are afraid of markers. They're like, man, it's just going to turn black. And I'm trying to just keep it natural and neutral looking. You can't put a clear marker and then apply your other to the top of it. And also, I wanted to add, I know we jumped to that when he was asking about blend off powders. You can take our Wheel Pro also. It works really good with our powders to mix them to do your color work with that. Or you can add them to your lacquer to make toners as well. A lot of people, I've got customers that take our blend off powders and make their own toners. They just add it to their lacquer and create their own toners to spray it.
In green colors.
Yes, yeah. If you want to clear, if you don't want to spray any kind of sealer because you're afraid it to get on the piece, definitely use a clear marker first, get it sealed up, and then put your color. Yes, sir.
There's one more product that I want to show y'all guys, and it's a patch-all putty. Now, this is very popular in cabinet companies because it's not a putty that's going to harden up. But if you're creating some trim around a piece and you got nail pops, this comes in 65 colors, and you can actually match your color and just go back and fill your nail pops in. And it's real easy to work with. Cabinet companies love this stuff, and you can get it in all kinds of colors, and it's just great.
Yeah, can you hold that up, Chris, so they can see it on the camera? And while he's holding that up, just to add to this patch-all putty that he's referring to, we've got all the different colors. It gets a little harder than what it is in the jar, but not much. It's not made to get hard and sand or anything like that. It was designed, we used to have a caulk years ago, and we wanted to come up with something because the caulk interfered with our finishes. Anybody else finishing, we'd have a guy in the other room just caulking everything to death. And then the time we got to the finishing side, it was causing havoc. So the patch-all putty is great for nail holes or where you would caulk something. You know, if you're in minor joints and cabinet doors or anything like that, real tight, you can put a little of that in there, just seams, open seams, inside of drawers and cabinets. Or like Chris was saying, our cabinet installers love it because of the nail holes. But also when you're doing your crown work is where you would want to caulk something because it's got an ugly gap. This works perfect. You just put a big wad of it on your finger, run it right down there, and it cleans right off with a little terry cloth towel, and it does not shine up like it does with our peel sticks and stuff like that. It's really good for places, you know, as far as moldings, miter joints, just hard to get in, but it's an eyesore piece or the nail holes, just to add to that.
What makes stain?
It's so soft. If you're trying to put it in a big area, you don't want to do that. But if you're going over top of it, yeah, stain will go over top of it clear. If you've got it in your nail pop, yeah, it will. If you got a lighter one and trying to go darker, the question was, well, can you go over it with stain or top coat? Yes, you can go over this patch-all putty with stain or top coat was the question asked.
He's got a question.
Just real quick for everybody that there's, while I think of it, is there's been mention of cling spore being a source for a lot of their stuff. We, as a club member, you should get a discount if you contact Cling Spore and let them know that you're a Charlotte Woodworkers member, because every quarter I send them the roster. So they have it on file at Cling Spore. So
I think
while
you
I
get
think of it.
I think you get a 10% discount.
Yeah, I think that's that kind of rings a bell. So and they've done that for, well, ever since I was a member some 8 or 9 years ago. And probably before that. So anyway, remember Cling Spore.
Got a question.
You have a deep gouge on a tabletop
is there a recommended maximum depth for the burn-in before you go to the epoxy?
You can actually layer this. You can, if you don't bring it up top to high enough, you can actually melt it in and then let it dry. And then you can melt it in again to bring it up to your surface. Now, I would rather use the epoxy on like busted corners or stuff like that where I have to shape it, you know.
Or if you've got a wide gouge, if you've got something, say, a half an inch or something, just really extreme gouge, I would definitely go to the epoxy putty. But if you, even though it might be a long gouge, but as long as it's not real wide, you can layer the hard fills up. You can actually mix the colors as well, on that. They'll mix together and melt a couple of different ones together if you need to.
Because you got a lot of grays nowadays. It's hard to match. You can take the black and a white and you can mix it actually on the little card here, or you can actually mix it in the damage too and get your color right. And you can keep melting it until you actually hit your color. Anybody got any more questions?
Anybody? I would definitely get one of our catalogs. It's got all of our products besides all the ones we keep coming out with. We keep updating that catalog, but it also has our website, so you can go to our website and look at stuff as well.
I am the local rep for this area, so I'll be happy to give you a card. You can call me, and if you have questions, I always got Ricky to lean on as a wealth of knowledge. So if I can't find that, if I don't know the answer, I definitely can find it for you.
Am I on YouTube? I'm not, but Mohawk is. Yeah, we're on a lot of the different social medias and stuff too, and that way we can tell about different things we have coming up, because we have workshops as well, woodworking workshops. It's a one-day class. You get a big kit and of course the knowledge through the workshop, and but like Chris mentioned, we also have a leather one, which I know don't help the woodworker side of it, but we do offer that as well. We're on a lot of social media to answer your question.
Klingspor is actually going to start carrying a lot of our leather products. We're in the process of kind of narrowing down exactly which ones that they want to carry and promote. So
yeah, but that, and mainly because Klingspor is more your woodworking, but they're looking at the leather products and everything, because like if you're restoring a chair and it's got leather on it or vinyl, our leather vinyl stuff, it works on both, so that's why we're looking at carrying it. If you're restoring a chair and somebody's got a vinyl or leather seat, that way you can touch up and do some stuff to that as well, or add color.
We have a Rockford store here in town. Do they sell your product?
Rockford, I'm not sure if question was Rockler right down here in this area. I know Rainbow Paint and Klingspor and Worth.
does Woodcraft carries a few of our products.
Yeah, Woodcraft does carry a little bit of the Mohawk products. We're trying to get more in there currently. So hopefully going into this summer, you will see more of the Mohawk. They used to have Balin products and we bought Balin out. So that's what happened to Balin. So now it's Mohawk. So everything that was Balin, if you need to know, we've got a cross-reference. If you ask Chris or somebody and he don't know it, I can get the cross-reference number on whatever you bought from Balin. We have Mohawk now. We might have changed the name. Definitely the product number changed, but we did buy out Balin. So that's what happened to your Balin products. And or even back in the day, Star products and all that's Mohawk now. So they, they bumped them out too. So, and everything. So that's what happened, on the Balin stuff. So on the woodworker side, a lot of people knew Balin. So. Yes. We have a lot of great products that makes you guys and girls life easier when you're trying to get stuff restored, repaired, or refinished and stuff. A lot of people don't realize how much Mohawk carries. it's just from just some of the minor stuff, touch up to major refinishing. And if we don't have it, our sister company that's hooked to us at the hip, Finish Works, will definitely, we can get you, the larger quantities if you grow from needing that gallon or 5 gallons and you're needing drums of something, and we can even offer it through the Mohawk side as well. Some people on the Mohawk buy drums of acetone, lacquer thinner from us, or wash thinner, stuff like that. So we offer that through the Mohawk side as well, because, some of these people's shops will buy a drum a year, and that's all they'll need, and we can help them on the Mohawk side as well. So. But yeah, I definitely say check us out online, get the catalog, flip through it. You'll be surprised. I mean, we even carry hardware and stuff, little legs and stuff for chairs, all kinds of different things, T-nuts. It's amazing the products that Mohawk carries, that when somebody starts flipping through that catalog on a Saturday when they ain't doing nothing, they're like, oh, I had no idea that they carried that or even made that. I get that all the time. So definitely make sure you get a catalog for sure. Appreciate it. Thank y'all for having us. Definitely. We enjoy it.